We got you updated. This is Radio Imanzi News in English.
This is Radio Imanzi, broadcasting from Kigali. Here is the news in English, brought to you by Fiona Umukanwa. The headlines. President Paul Kagame took on Twitter to congratulate the Golden State Warriors after their win. Over 350 youth leaders from 54 nations are expected to take part in Commonwealth Youth Forum. Footage has emerged in northern Tanzania of what appears to be members from the Maasai community being removed from the land surrounding their village. Welcome back. News in detail. President Paul Kagame has congratulated the Golden State Warriors after winning the 2022 National Basketball Association Championship in the United States of America. President Paul Kagame is a great fan of Golden State Warriors. He even sometimes watches its matches live. Led by 34 points from Stephen Curry, the Golden State Warriors defeated the Boston Celtics with 103-90 points win, claiming their fourth NBA championship in the last 8 seasons. The final match left Curry winning NBA Finals Most Valuable Player honors for the first time in his career. Following the victory, President Kagame took to Twitter to congratulate the Golden State Warriors for the much-needed victory. Moving on ahead, the State Minister for the East African Community Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Professor Manasseh Nshuti, this afternoon presided over a Chogm press briefing along with a number of other senior government officials. He said besides 5,000 delegates from Commonwealth countries, there would also be other special guests who will attend the Chogm 2022 meeting in Kigali. He pointed out that the Commonwealth has a population of over 2.5 billion and hosting the meeting implies that Rwanda is doing business with all of them. He noted that Rwanda has spent years preparing for this Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting 2022. He also expressed confidence that everything is in place and will be well organized. Dr. Tarsis Munga, the State Minister of Health, noted that COVID-19 is not yet over. Although new cases are very few, we must keep protecting ourselves. Since March, there has not been a single death recorded. All Chogm delegates will be tested. There is a special medical team at every hotel and on standby at all times. There are also medical teams at all event sites. The mayor of the city of Kigali, Pidance Rwingisa, said some of the roads that are still under construction are part of our city's long-term urbanization plan, but assured the public that all of them will be completed before the meeting starts. He said no activity around town will be stopped. On the contrary, he encouraged people to keep all their businesses active. The government spokesperson Yolande Makolo emphasized on what to expect from the meeting.
The leaders' meetings, the heads of government who will be here, heads of governments and heads of state, who will have about 35 of them here, those meetings are restricted, and this is the particularity of these Chogm meetings. It's really between the leaders. But we do know what they're going to discuss. We know that the theme is delivering a common future, connecting, innovating, transforming. We know that the key things that will be delivered are, number one, climate. There's a climate emergency with the climate change. This will be discussed. It's very important because many island states are members of the Commonwealth, as are many developing countries. Number two, youth and job creation, especially digital technology jobs. It's a very important theme that's going to be discussed. And then as well as pandemic recovery and resilience. We cannot avoid this. We're all coming out of the COVID pandemic, so this will be a key discussion among the heads of government and state that will be meeting. And finally, the impact of the geopolitical situation with the war in Ukraine and the impact on inflation, especially on developing countries. So these will be closed meetings between the heads of state, but these are the key things that they will be discussing, very important to all of us as developing countries.
Still on to matters of the Commonwealth, over 350 youth leaders from 54 nations are expected to take part in the Commonwealth Youth Forum. Young people will seek to make their mark on their own future Commonwealth policies at the 12th Commonwealth Youth Forum, which begins in Kigali, Rwanda on Sunday, 19th June. Held ahead of the main Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, the three-day forum is a unique opportunity for young leaders to bring policy recommendations to their governments, asserting their role in shaping the future of the Commonwealth. More than 60% of Commonwealth citizens are under the age of 30, a demographic distinctly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic and its associated economic and social fallout. Many young people lost their jobs or were unable to access the labor market, while millions more experienced disrupted education. The Commonwealth Secretary-General, Patricia Scotland, said there is no denying that the challenge before us is great. The disruptions and impact of COVID-19 pandemic cast a shadow that could stretch across the coming decades, threatening to rob us out of the social and economic progress we have made and exacerbating existing weaknesses. But in the Commonwealth, we have a powerful advantage, a young majority who are brimming with talent, intent on innovation and eager to be part of the solution. They have sent a clear message through the theme of their forum, taking charge of our future. And in Kigali, they will sit together and consider the challenges. Looking at the evidence in the Youth Development Index, which measures how countries are performing on aspects such as youth employment and youth participation in politics. They will agree the solutions, the actions and the changes they want the heads of governments to consider when they meet. The Commonwealth Youth Forum is one of the 4 forums which have taken place in the margins of Chogm since 1998. Young people will focus on the data provided by the Youth Development Index report, a Commonwealth tool which helps to monitor changes in the situation of young people, recognize their contributions to the world and support them, as well as pursue the sustainable development goals. The Minister of State in charge of Social Affairs, Assumpta Ingabire, has urged parents to take children to early childhood development centers, ECD, across the country for their healthy growth in the early years and ability to develop to their full potential. She made the remarks during the celebration of the Day of the African Child 2022 at Nchuti Zachu Daycare Center, which was officially inaugurated at its site located in Gahanga Sector, Kicukiro District. According to the minister, taking children to ECD centers comes with numerous benefits, such as helping parents detect if their children live with any disability or growth disorder, hence getting help on time. She said parents should take their children to ECD centers as soon as they suspect they have difficulties or delays regarding their growth at different stages. Minister Ingabire also stressed the government's initiative Tubarere mu Muryango, which was launched in 2012 to fast-track implementation of the strategy for national child care reform, saying it has been effective and is aware that only 4 SOS children villages still have children, reason being that their models allow children to live in a family-like home. The campaign focuses on phasing out orphanages by putting orphans in normal family settings or foster homes, as well as transforming Rwanda's current child care and protection system into a family-based system of care. Nchuti Zachu Daycare Center, which was inaugurated during the event, offers different services such as consultation, physiotherapy, nutrition, occupational therapy, special education for children with disabilities, special surgery for those under 2 years, as well as psychology services, among others. During the event, the center was also given a van which will help in transporting children from sites that are near their homes to school and back, preventing them from getting late. The Rwanda formed Police Unit 3, serving under the UN mission in South Sudan, has donated assorted scholastic materials and personal hygiene products to pupils of Green Sud Nursery and Primary School in the capital, Juba. The donation is a financial contribution by the men and women of the Unit 3 contingent to mark the International Day of the African Child, held under the theme Eliminating Harmful Practices Affecting Children, Progress on Policy and Practice since 2013. The Day of the African Child is celebrated annually to reflect on the progress made towards children's rights as well as barriers they continue to face. The donated items include exercise books, reams of paper, pens, pencils, and sanitary towels. The occasion was graced by the UN mission in South Sudan Police Commissioner, Madam Christine Fossen, and police peacekeepers from other contributing countries. The senior superintendent of police, Grace Uwimana, the contingent commander for the Unit 3, said that protection of children and supporting them is vital to building peace and development. Children are future leaders. They have rights which should be respected. Due to their vulnerability, they should be protected and supported to live their dreams. The Day of African Child is also aimed at taking stock of what has been done in adopting policies and practices and to reflect on what more needs to be done to effectively eliminate harmful practices affecting children in Africa. This Friday morning, an unidentified Congolese soldier armed with an AK-47 rifle was shot dead after he crossed the Petite Barriere border in Rubavu district and began shooting at Rwandan security personnel, injuring 2 Rwandan police officers. According to a statement by the Rwanda Defense Force, the Congolese soldier was shot dead 25 meters inside the Rwandan territory. The statement added that the RDF has invited the expanded joint verification mechanism to investigate the incident and assured the public that the situation at the border is now calm. The Deputy CEO of Rwanda Development Board, Zefanini Yonhuru, also said that the DRC situation has not affected Rwanda's tourism sector. The sector is booming, the number of tourists is growing, and new hotels are being built in the areas of Kinigi. The government spokesperson Yolande Macro said what happened earlier at the border in Rubavu, Rwanda is taking it as an incident. The Foreign Affairs Minister has already spoken to his DRC counterpart.
This, we're taking it just as an incident. It's being investigated by the EGVM, the Expanded Joint Verification Mechanism. Two Rwandan officers were injured. They're being taken care of in the hospital. An FRDC soldier was shot and killed after he shot at the border post, as the RDF, the Rwanda Defense Force, just announced in their statement. This incident is being investigated. Our foreign minister has already spoken to his counterpart in the DRC, and the various authorities in Rwanda are in touch with the DRC counterparts. So we'll wait and see the outcome of the investigation. However, Rwandans and our visitors are assured of their security, and there is no issue with security in Kigali or anywhere else in the country.
Some items of international news on Radio Imanzi.
Welcome back.
We got you.
Welcome back. Excuses for that technique fault. Footage has emerged in northern Tanzania of what appears to be members from the Maasai community being removed from the land surrounding their village. The images were shot last week, a few days before the Tanzanian authorities announced that the first group of Maasai families had left the Ngorongoro Conservation Area as part of a program of voluntary relocation in order to alleviate pressure on the local environment. However, the human rights activists have denounced the program as forceful evictions. Tanzanian authorities, including the tourism and minister and prime minister, have said the goal for the disputed area is conservation and alleged that the growing number of Maasai and cattle on the land could put it at risk. According to experts, the planned game reserve would take up 1,500 square kilometers or 4,000 square kilometers designated as village land, meaning up to 70,000 Maasai could be displaced. Tanzania has imposed a new requirement on grain traders to get an export permit before shipping maize out of the country in a policy shift that has locked already bought stocks of grain by Kenyan millers at the border. Kenyan millers say the new requirement could paralyze their operations at a time scarcity of grain and other costs of production have conspired to push the price of flour towards 200 Kenyan shillings for a 2-kilo packet. Millers say the requirement was not there before, after the two countries resolved their trade dispute last year. This has seen hundreds of trucks stuck at the Namanga border post, putting the supply of grain to Kenya, given that Tanzania is the only source of maize where processors are getting grain from at the moment after local stocks fizzled out. The World Health Organization says it is working with experts to come up with a new name for monkeypox. It comes after more than 30 scientists wrote last week about the urgent need for a non-discriminatory and non-stigmatizing name for the virus and disease it causes. They said continued research to the virus They said the continued reference to the virus as African is both inaccurate and discriminatory. Some 1,600 cases of the disease have been recorded globally in recent weeks, while 72 deaths have been reported in countries where monkeypox was already endemic. None have been seen in the newly affected 32 countries, such as the UK. The World Health Organization says it will hold an emergency meeting next week to determine whether to classify the outbreak as a public health emergency of international concern, the highest alarm the UN agency can sound. The only other diseases this has happened for in the past are swine flu, polio, Ebola, Zika, and COVID. World Health Organization Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said the outbreak of monkeypox is unusual and concerning. 1 month after Mali said it would withdraw from the G5 Sahel alliance, the country's Major General announced the decision would be effective starting from June 30th. Malian General Umar Diarra addressed the commandant of the G5 Sahel in a letter. He solemnly notified the commandant of Mali's decision to terminate the engagement of its troops serving on the west and central fronts, as well as the engagement of the Malian military personnel serving at the headquarters of the joint forces. The West African Anti-Jihadist Force was launched in 2014 with the support of France. It includes Mauritania, Chad, Burkina Faso and Niger. Mali decided to leave the G5 alliance after it was blocked from assuming the group's presidency. Football star Sadio Mane is said to join Bayern Munich after the German champions reached a $43 million agreement with Liverpool. According to a report by thegoal.com, Liverpool will receive $34 million fixed fee for the Senegal international, with a further $6 million available based on appearances. Mane has been at Liverpool since 2016 and decided the time was right for a new experience. Mane told Liverpool of his desire to leave soon after the Champions League final and made Bayern his preferred destination. Bids from the German champions were turned down before a deal was reached this Friday.
Economic news is a regular feature on Radio Imanzi.
Now the Rwanda Stock Exchange Market Report. The trading session recorded its total turnover of 994,885,000 Rwandan francs worth of bonds traded in 2 deals on the fixed income market and 263,940,000 Rwandan francs from 996,000 Bank of Kigali shares traded in 2 deals on the equities market. Bank of Kigali closed the counter at 265 Rwandan francs. Brerwa at 160 Rwandan francs. I&M Bank at 43 Rwandan francs. MTN Rwanda at 177 Rwandan francs. Simerwa at 120 Rwandan francs. Equity Bank at 440 Rwandan francs. Kenya Commercial Bank at 370 Rwandan francs. National Media Group at 1,200 Rwandan francs. Uchumi Supermarket at 104 Rwandan francs. And RH Buffalo closed the counter at 526 Rwandan francs as the market closed. The currency market review of today. The Kenyan shilling buying price was 8.6 Rwandan francs. The selling price was 8.8 Rwandan francs. Tanzanian shilling buying price was 0.43 Rwandan francs, and the selling price was 0.44 Rwandan francs. Ugandan shilling buying price was 0.26 Rwandan francs, and the selling price was 0.27 Rwandan francs. Burundian franc buying price was 0.49 Rwandan francs, and the selling price was 0.5 Rwandan francs. The US dollar buying price was 1,012 Rwandan francs, and the selling price was 1,033 Rwandan francs. The British pound buying price was 1,246 Rwandan francs, and the selling price was 1,271 Rwandan francs. The euro buying price was 1,066 Rwandan francs, and the selling price was 1,087 Rwandan francs. With that, we come to the end of tonight's edition with me, Fiona Muganwa. This is Radio Imanzi 105.1 FM.